Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by the REC Toycast. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me as always,
Eric Icarus.
You can check us out online on Instagram at REC Podcast. You can follow me if you would like at Roman REC Podcast. And Eric's around someplace.
In the shadows.
In the shadows.
Lurking.
Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, kids. Great show. Check it out. Eric.
Yes, what's up?
I did something a little different. I'm sorry if I threw you off.
No.
But,
I thought I just slept through the whole show. I was like, I just woke up at the end of it.
Like most of our listeners, all right? I watched a movie this week.
Yeah, what's up? Which one? Joker again?
No, I'm done. I've watched the Joker. I don't know if I'll ever watch Joker again. But I watched Terminator Dark Fate.
Okay.
It's not been doing well at the box office.
Right.
It's performing. It's poor. It's underperforming like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
And it's too bad. Because if you're a Terminator fan, especially of 1 and 2, the movie's excellent.
Okay.
It's excellent. Kids, we are going to talk spoilers. I have already briefly talked spoilers with Eric beforehand. He's aware of it. He has not seen it.
Nope.
But at this point, I don't know if he'll get to it before it goes because of how poor it's performing.
Right, it's probably going to be gone before
It's probably going to be gone before you make time for it. So, but again, spoilers. Guys, this movie's super fun. If you like Terminators 1 and 2... in Genesis, this movie is excellent, and it's low-key a very pro-feminist film. Girl power all the way. Again, I've said it before. I have 2 daughters. I'm pro-team girl power, and this movie is one of those very, very well-executed films where they don't hit you over the head with feminism, where they're not like, oh, because I'm a woman. No, you see these women earn their keep and do stuff and just be very powerful, even without being enhanced robotic cybernetic beings. Movie's excellent. It deals with, it kind of makes the other movies make sense, in terms of this is like a different timeline.
Right.
Okay? So in this timeline, events are different. They splinter off from the Terminator 2 timeline. And I don't want to give away too much because it is interesting, and I'm going to try to avoid major spoilers, but again, some things.
Some will slip out.
But this movie is a direct sequel to Terminator 2. Okay? And man, it is excellent. It's got good action. It's got very cool storytelling. It's got kind of a Back to the Future feel of time travel, talking about kind of a multiverse type thing without over-explaining things.
Right. I feel like in movies they get into explaining these multiverses and they just confuse people. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you told me they kind of keep it simple.
Yes. These other movies that we've enjoyed, even if you haven't enjoyed like Terminator 3 or even Terminator Salvation, we're big fans of Genesis on this show.
I do like them.
I still like Genesis more, but if you told me you liked Dark Fate better, I wouldn't argue with you.
Right.
It really is a good standalone film. And man, it's just fun. I highly recommend you go check it out if you're a fan of Terminator 1 and 2. It's a great sequel. I think my only beef, and this came up in conversation with Terminator Genesis, is I don't like how jacked Kyle Reese is in that movie.
Right.
Because Jai Courtney's just a jacked Australian or New Zealander.
Right.
And
Michael Biehn was not jacked.
No, and the idea of like they're scraping by in the future, like it made sense.
That they would be like gaggly.
Yes.
Yeah, stringy.
And same thing in Terminator Salvation. I can't remember the kid's name. He passed away. He was he played Kyle Reese, but he was in the new Star Trek movies.
Oh yeah.
He played Chekhov.
Yeah.
I apologize, I don't know his name, but like he made sense as Kyle Reese in Terminator Salvation.
Sure.
Gangly, thin.
Right.
So just quick. On Terminator Genesis.
That was just a nitpick because he had to do something.
Yes.
I'm kind of bummed because I do want to go watch this now, man.
I think you'll enjoy it. I really think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But when I was watching it and seeing the reviews and seeing how it's kind of poor performing, it got me thinking about some other films. Right. It got me thinking about Alien and Predator and obviously the Terminator franchise. And what do you think is the reason that these movies are underperforming now? The Alien Covenant did okay. It probably did the best of those other of the movies we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But The Predator was not well received and definitely had its problems. I enjoyed it.
Right.
But it's a C- at best. Film. And by the way, Terminator Dark Fate, I would personally give it a B+.
Wow.
I just enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really, it's good Terminator fodder.
Okay.
But there's less and less people watching these films, and I'm curious to see what you think about it and why. And we'll kind of start. We're gonna do a little brief, history on it.
Yeah.
And in Alien in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
The Man, written by Dan Oberman. I believe that's how you say his name. And what's kind of interesting about some of these films is that we get Sigourney Weaver in this.
Yeah.
We get definitely the first she's got to be the first female action hero.
One of them. I'm sure there's more lesser. She's the most known one.
Oh, fair
first
enough.
known
Okay.
one. I'm sure there's some that we didn't know about. We don't know that. It's not coming to mind.
Yeah.
That predate that one. But she's... When I think of female empowerment, it's
in film.
Ripley.
Totally, yeah. Ripley is one of my favorite characters. I wanted to name our second child Ripley. I was promptly vetoed. But
Cool name.
Hey, whatever, it's fine. Ripley Sarah Connor. And then we have its sequel,
right?
Aliens in 1986, and both those movies do really well.
Oh yeah,
they still hold up
big time.
But we've had these subsequent sequels that aren't very strong.
Very true.
Then we have Terminator in 1984, written and directed by James Cameron.
Yeah.
Again, another The Man,
yes.
who also did Aliens and actually turned it kind of from a horror to an action piece.
Yeah.
And really made Ripley even stronger,
right.
like more of a leader.
Big time. Yeah.
Because she's just kind of the de facto hero because she's the only one who survives in the first
right.
film. But in the second film, she's like leading Space Marines. Basically.
Exactly.
Then we have Terminator 2, its sequel in 91, which is probably everybody's favorite Terminator movie.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine that it's not.
You're going to get some people who probably like the first one better just from nostalgia reasons, but how can you argue that?
Yeah.
T2 is amazing.
Terminator 2, T2 Judgment Day really expands on Sarah Connor's character, Linda Hamilton, who obviously reprises her role in Dark Fate. And, it's a sequel that's better than the original, in my opinion.
It's one of those.
Same thing with Aliens, I feel. And then in 87, we have Predator.
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers.
Right. Just a man's man movie, dude.
Written by Jim and John Thomas. I don't know if they're actually brothers. It feels like it. And then directed by John McTiernan.
Yep. Die Hard fan.
Who would the next year direct Die Hard.
Which is insane to me.
Yes. Now, Predator 2 in 1990 is definitely the film I've seen the least out of this list. And it's probably, I think if you were to rank these movies, it would be the last one on the list for most people's ranking.
It's got its charms. It's not an awful movie, but while we're talking Predator 2, I just thought of this. Bill Paxton has the honor of being killed by every one of these monsters.
Yes.
I just thought about that.
It's very interesting.
Because he's in the second Predator, correct?
He is in...
Yeah, he's in Predator 2.
Yes. He gets killed. He does have that only distinction
God.
to be killed by all of those characters. And it's funny because while there are some strings through all of these films, with James Cameron jumping on Aliens, doing Terminator, and Terminator 2.
And he was a makeup consultant on Predator.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, well there you go. I was wondering what was the next link, because we have Arnold in 2 of them, we have Bill Paxton in all 3, we have James Cameron involved in 2 of them. So it's
sort of involved with Predator. Too.
Yeah.
Just he didn't get a credit for it. He was just sitting on a plane with somebody. Yeah. With McTiernan. And he was showing him specs of the Predator, and he's like, no. He's like, you should make it look like this. And he sketched what he thought it would look like. And
oh, wow.
That's why it looks like the way it looks.
So, these films, like I said, they'll all get their own episode of some of these franchises.
Yeah, big time, man.
But, I mean, really, with the exception of Predator 2, this whole list is just great movies that I still watch today.
Honestly, and I think I love Predator 2. You should probably give it another watch.
I'll give it another check.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's
on demand right now.
You should check it out.
Not a sponsor, but so back to my original question.
Yes.
Why do you think that the movies with these roots,
mm-hmm.
why do they struggle now?
Okay.
Other than just time.
Okay,
I think
time is a factor.
Okay.
But let's start with Alien.
Okay.
Let's start with the Alien franchise.
Okay,
so we get 1 and 2. Amazing. Groundbreaking movies. Then we get to Alien 3.
Fincher? Yeah.
He wanted his name taken off of it.
Oh, wow.
He wanted an Alan Smithy credit for it.
Oh, wow.
And I think he actually got it in some European releases.
Oh, wow.
He wants to just distance himself from that movie. What happened with Alien 3 was they were promising through the promotion that the aliens were going to come to Earth.
Oh.
And it was going to be them trying to stop the aliens from crash landing on Earth. That was going to be the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
But apparently they slashed their budgets. And I believe your boy Joss has some rewrite credits on this one.
Not on this one.
Oh, was it the
on
one
Resurrection, which I really enjoy.
Really?
I love Alien Resurrection. Alien Resurrection is my third favorite Alien movie.
Fair enough. That one's not terrible. But,
like, it's weird and I get it, but it's fun.
But those two, since you're bringing that one up, compare those two to the original two Alien movies. The tone is so different.
They are.
And you're not getting a horror movie in space.
Yeah.
You're not getting an action set piece in space.
Yeah.
You're getting some drab, weird, stilted action movies that have no real connection to the last two movies except for Ripley.
Yeah.
And they just don't make any sense, really.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just bad movies, unfortunately. So, Resurrection's got its charms. I don't think it's an awful movie.
A lot of people hate it, but I find it to be very entertaining.
Honestly, they all have their little things I like about them, but I think that's why the drop-off was so drastic, was because we got 3, they were promised...
Yeah.
The audience, movie-going audiences were promised one thing, didn't get it in 3. Then I think they started losing steam. Then we get Resurrection... And I don't think anybody was expecting that to be what it was.
No, and...
Even that, it's got my favorite alien, the creepiest alien.
Yeah.
That half human, half xenomorph, which is,
It leads its way crotch out, It's looking for love in all the wrong places. Yeah, it's it's a weird hybrid.
I can see that is why the drop off. The tones were too different.
Well, what about with Prometheus and Alien Covenant?
Okay, so time might have been on its side at this point.
Yeah.
Because, we got Ridley Scott coming back from Prometheus.
Uh-huh.
And we're getting the original director back. And we're gonna get, the origin story for the aliens. And we don't even get that.
No.
And I think Alien franchise keeps falling victim to not giving the audience what they want. That's
interesting. And I hadn't thought of until you said it with 3, and then right when you were talking there, I was like, oh, that's their problem. They keep saying, hey, they're giving us they're selling us a wrong bill of goods or whatever.
Sure.
A bad bill of goods. And I didn't realize that. Yeah, they keep telling us, and they're telling us this.
Right.
They're telling us that this is going to be the origin.
Exactly.
It's coming from people inside, and then it ends up being something else.
It's completely different.
But again,
don't be wrong, I like Prometheus.
I enjoyed Prometheus. Yeah. It's just too long.
It is very long, and it's got some dumb characters in there.
Yeah.
Makes dumb decisions, but it's not a bad movie. It's shot beautifully. Ridley Scott's just...
And it's scary, too. It's got some good scary stuff.
In there, but,
and The Covenant's fun. It's fun. Way violent.
Yes.
But it's super fun.
It is.
It's super fun.
It's good. And we get Fassbender just steals the show in
both of them. Movies. Both of them. But yeah, it's just these future iterations don't really hit home. We have the Terminator franchise, which obviously we've spent a lot of time on. But... the ones we didn't really talk about were Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and Terminator Salvation.
Yep. And I have a theory.
Go for it.
Okay, I think again, it's not the original director returning.
Yeah.
Cameron didn't want to do T3.
Yeah.
And I think he might have got an EP credit on there or some nonsense, but it just was lacking James Cameron's vision, his tenacity. It just wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
They were again, you gave us that liquid metal / real Terminator villain, which I have trouble understanding how that even kind of works. You know what I mean?
Because they hampered the robotic side of it, where because when she didn't have the liquid on her, she didn't even have full limbs. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was a bizarre choice.
Exactly. And again, I'll stick by it. Should have just stuck with a T-1000.
Yeah.
Just stick with a T-1000. That's arguably one of the scariest, coolest movie villains / monsters out there.
Yeah.
And you could tell Arnold phoned it in big time.
Yeah.
For T3.
Yeah.
And everybody in that movie was pretty awful except for Claire Danes. Claire Danes was pretty awesome.
I forgot she was even in it.
Yeah, she's pretty good in that.
I like the way that it ended, kind of. But
yeah, the ending was cool. It was somber. Because you can't, you'll never stop Judgment Day.
Yeah.
That's what they're basically
saying. We prolong it, but we can't stop it.
Right.
Which is somewhat, spoilers, echoed in Dark Fate.
And one of our previous podcasts.
Yeah.
Because, that's my reasoning for Terminator, is James Cameron was not attached, didn't have his magic on it, didn't really even seem to have his approval.
Yeah.
In the subsequent ones, Salvation even, because we could even get into Salvation.
I like Salvation.
Did you now?
I like Salvation, yeah, because I don't think it was executed properly, but it wasn't. My thing is, I've always wanted to see the war.
That's all. Everybody wanted,
and
to
they just didn't do enough of the war.
Right.
So we spent a lot of time. Like the war is going on, but we're not really dealing with the war. So that's its big fault.
That was sort of the problem with Alien 3. Where we're getting this, but then we're just trapped in one location the whole time.
Yeah,
and
so it's like, I like that new character, played by Sam Worthington.
Oh, Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus. Thank you.
Yeah.
I like Marcus, and it seems like, again, something of a precursor to
what's going on
in Dark Fate. So, which is kind of cool, and I feel like Dark Fate explains those movies a bit.
Right.
It's my interpretation, and I think a lot of people are doing that. I won't say how they do it, but again, go check it out. I think it makes sense.
But I will say Salvation has one of the best movie trailers ever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the way they splice it, edit it, and has Nine Inch Nails, The Day the World Went Away playing over it.
Yeah.
Like, it's beautiful.
And you don't really know it's a Terminator movie until you see a Terminator.
And then you hear John Connor talk like, it's the Resistance. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then for me, it was a big letdown.
I do think that there is a small franchise in there to where we do see, think about it, like do it Planet of the Apes style, where we say, okay, the fall has happened.
Right.
We're building it. We're seeing John get followers. We're seeing the government meddling into it.
Sure.
Which was in Salvation, how it's like, oh, you're the lead. Like, people, they follow you almost like they would follow Jesus.
Sure.
But there's like an actual chain of command, and you're not even part of it.
Right. Which I can see happening to Jesus.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's probably what happened to him.
So you have those two movies, then we get Genesis, we get Dark Fate, which I'm a big fan of both of those movies. So
we can even throw in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I never watched it.
But pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard it was interesting. Like it's a sequel to like all of the good ones are sequels to Terminator 2.
And I think had Dark Fate just came out in 2003, I think this franchise would probably be doing a lot better. If they could have gotten into Hamilton to come back.
Yeah.
Got James Cameron to straight up produce it.
Yeah.
And maybe do some rewrites on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the Terminator franchise could have prospered longer.
Because Tim Miller of Deadpool 1 fame directed Dark Fate.
Okay.
Yeah. And the movie's beautiful. Now, to a lesser extent in franchises, we have the Predator franchise, where Predator 1 is just flipping awesome.
It's just amazing.
Jungle. It is kind of jungle horror.
Oh, big time.
And it's interesting. And again, we get Schwarzenegger, who doesn't have to do much, but he does a lot with a little.
For sure.
And then its sequel in 1990 with Danny Glover.
Yeah, as the lead.
Yeah. It's weird. Like I said, I don't remember watching it as much. I enjoyed the future versions. I enjoyed Predators. One that had
with Robert Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez.
With Adrian Brody as the. Yes. I actually enjoyed it too.
I
thought it was pretty good.
I think the kind of hunting planet, the training planet.
You're right, it's perfect.
Super fun.
It's genius.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
And then we have The Predator that came out, I think, in 2017 or 18.
Right.
And it's not.
I didn't even get around to. Someone at my job was like, They know I'm into these movies. They're like, dude, don't do it to yourself, man.
It's not terrible. It's just it's not good though.
Right.
Either. There are things about it that you like, but for the most part, it's just it's weak sauce.
Sure.
It's weak sauce.
But then we could even talk Alien v Predator.
Yeah, which I enjoy.
Crossing
AVP.
streams here.
I enjoy AVP enough to where if it's on and there's nothing else on, I will totally watch it. But I'm not looking for it.
Stale food when they're hungry.
I've eaten a full bowl of stale cereal. Okay, it does the trick, it just doesn't taste as good, and that's very good. And in all of our food analogies, Eric has found the best one, I think. Yes, I've eaten a whole stale bowl of cereal. You have. That's what AVP is. It's like, man, there's bites in here that, oh God, this one's almost fresh. This one's almost good, but it's not the real thing. No. It's not the good stuff.
And I think that's what these franchises, the later films, suffer from, is a lack of involvement with the creators and or directors.
Okay.
And we got time, obviously.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think a big problem too is that these movies, these sequels, they don't get new fans. Like, nobody's going to watch Dark Fate and that be their first Terminator movie.
Right.
Which, honestly, you probably could.
Sure.
They do a good job of, like, explaining things. Same thing with Genesis. I feel like they do a good job of explaining things. But with Predator, with Predators, you could watch it because they make reference to Dutch and everything. But The Predator is just kind of this standalone weird Predator movie that feels the most different from the franchise.
Right.
Just like Salvation feels the most different from the franchise.
There you go.
And Alien 3 and Resurrection are very different.
For sure.
And yeah, it's just they're having a hard time. Like, just to give you a frame of reference, so Dark Fate is in the same amount of days that Dark Fate was out, that Genesis was out. Dark Fate made 51 million versus in the same time frame Genesis made 89 million.
Okay, so there's definitely a lot of money.
Yes,
dropped off or made there.
And then I think that when you get to something like Genesis and even Dark Fate, I think you're going to have the original the OG Terminator fans. You're going to lose a third of them too, because while I thoroughly enjoyed it, there's going to be people who don't.
Yeah, either through that they died off.
Yeah,
people get old. Then,
but the amount of people who like Terminator from the beginning might just be significantly less too.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they've either lost interest or they've died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this film had a $185 million budget. That's a huge budget. That's a side Avengers movie budget. And Terminator doesn't even, it's gonna, like, Genesis worldwide finished at about $440 million, but I mean, it did the majority of its nut across the pond, in other countries.
Right.
And that's what this one's doing right now.
I think Terminator Dark Fate, I think this movie could have probably done better. I mean, I know you enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they would have maybe went back to basics, scaled it down to T1 style, and just had it been like a cool chase movie or something, and just kept the effects pretty minimal.
Yeah, because there's like a fight on a plane.
Yeah, see,
that's going down.
Right.
And they're like fighting, and in that like almost zero gravity type,
which is
cool. And it's cool, but unnecessary.
I feel like they need to earn that.
You do.
Because if they would have been able to tell see, Terminator for me feels like this has the most amount of stories to tell.
Yes.
It has so many cool avenues we can go down out of the other franchises we've been talking about. Predator is a one-trick pony. It's a cool trick. It's a very cool trick, but it's one trick.
Yeah, Predator is the least imaginative of the other of those other light franchises. And then Alien of the Bill Paxton franchise. the Paxton verse. Okay, you heard it here, guys. We are referring to these franchises as the Paxton verse. Okay, he is the thread. All right. R.I.P. Bill Paxton, man. We missed the hell out of you.
I know, man. Because he was a street punk in Terminator.
Street punk in Terminator gets killed.
Marine.
He was a space marine. Game over, man.
Yep. And he was a
cop in Predator 2.
So there you go, kids. Just in case you didn't know.
Oh, God, it's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, I love Bill Paxton.
Yeah, I just think that you're not going to be able to get new fans.
No.
Which is too bad, because I really think that we kind of... Okay, I know I do. I crave a more low budget but entertaining science fiction thing.
Sure.
And in the past, Terminator had kind of been that.
Right.
And seeing that the budget was $185 million, it's like they wanted to do a new franchise based on this film.
Right. They were hoping this was going to get them back into Avengers territory.
And you've got to, and I think that's why they got Tim Miller, because they did Deadpool for $55 million.
Right.
And it made $740 whatever million worldwide.
So let's give him a big budget.
Yeah, dude.
Even though I guarantee Tim Miller's like, no. Just give me this.
I need $60 million.
And we can make it happen.
And then if this works, then we can go a little bit more. Then we can go a little bit more. And that's the same thing that, Marvel did.
They built on. Yeah.
The Avengers 1's budget is nothing compared to Endgame.
No.
And, Infinity War, I mean, they spent over $1 billion to make that movie.
Right.
You can't start there.
No.
So I think them starting at 185 is just going to hurt it, because worldwide the movie's made over 200 million.
Sure.
So if your budget was 60 to even 80 million, okay, cool. You made a good profit.
You've recouped your production costs and maybe a little of your advertising.
Yes.
Costs,
but
not
this
now. Now you're still probably in the hole, even though it looks like you've gone over.
Yeah.
You're still in the hole.
This will be one of those movies that when we're doing the show in 20 years, we'll talk about people needed to have watched Dark Fate.
Bro, it's going to be one of them sleeper movies where like this could have been really great had more people watched it. And I think this might be the nail in the coffin for Terminator.
It might be.
I think this is going to be game over, man, for Terminator for 10 years. I'm giving it 10 years until some awesome director or writer gets an idea.
It just stinks because even in Terminator 3, and Terminator 3 being the worst Terminator film, you still like seeing Schwarzenegger.
Sure.
And like, Schwarzenegger doesn't have very many of these left in him, I don't think. I mean, he's 74, I think.
He looked good.
He looks great, man. Yeah. They do much better CGI on him than they do on Linda Hamilton. She looked rough. She looked like a person who not only smokes a pack a day, but fights a hobo to get that pack a day. Like she.
Well, maybe that was part of her character. Maybe they wanted her to look like that.
It does work, but man, I don't know. It looks Linda Hamilton did not age gracefully. She did not age gracefully. But man, she's tough as nails in the movie. With the exception of a couple parts, you don't feel like it's forced. Like she is Sarah Connor.
Sure. I always saw her. It's amazing that two of these out of the 3 franchises are the embodiment of woman power in cinema. In my opinion. Yeah,
Sarah Connor and Ripley are they're
straight up. I mean, because like you said, in Alien, she is sort of like you said, the de facto survivor leader / leader. And then in the second one, it's awesome character development because you see her turn into the tough as nails. Yeah. Fights the queen alien. Yeah. And then of course Sarah Connor again. It's sort of the same build. Yeah. She's sort of like this weak, waitress in Los Angeles turns into this military badass. Yeah. And what would have been cool is if they made the Predators women. Like that hunted like just men. Yeah. That would have been kind of a cool way to tie this all together.
Yeah, there's precedent in nature. Yeah. Like I would love to see that.
Because females in nature are typically the stronger species.
Yeah.
In the insect kingdom, they're the hunters.
It's funny, they're the hunters cool. and then the males are the protectors. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think I'm glad that we got to get Linda Hamilton again.
Sure.
Because I think that Sarah Connor is such a great character.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, like we're probably 10 years out from another one.
And again, I think it's gonna go back to basics. Yeah. I can see in 10 years they're going to
reboot, like a full reboot.
Full on, just like, okay, we're gonna take the script and we're gonna noodle or doctor it up a little bit and then redo Terminator 1, and it's gonna probably be amazing. Because it's going to be made for like 15 mil. It's going to be some indie director who wants to do it.
They'll have we'll have a new form of AI.
And then
it's so interesting that we've been fighting AI like in film since 84.
Right.
Like that's been.
But even before that, there were movies bringing that crap.
Exactly. Like but everybody, like I'm terrified of Skynet and zombies.
Right.
Which clearly make the Borg in Star Trek, is Skynet and zombies, all right? 2001: Space Odyssey.
HAL arguably scary, but Skynet's scary. But they're not called Skynet in Dark Fate or Fate. Right?
Dark Fate. Yeah, in Dark Fate, it's not Skynet. Mild spoiler. Most of the events of Terminator 2 happen. So in this thread, Miles Dyson, they carried out their mission, but the whole idea is somebody else is going to pick up. If Apple didn't exist, somebody else would be Apple.
Right.
Some other company. So some other company makes an AI. Right. Because it's kind of interesting. There's again spoiler. There's a scene which we saw on the bridge in the trailer when we see Linda Hamilton come out of the car. She looks all awesome with that gun. Yeah. She tells Grace, which is the protector Terminator from the future. She's like, the Grace is like, who are you? She says, I'm Sarah Connor. She's like, who? Like, she doesn't even know who Sarah Connor is.
It's like the Star-Lord scene?
Yes, it's very much a Star-Lord scene there. Yeah. And, I think it's interesting to talk about what's happened to these franchises. I think they're all right for reboot. I think you need to bring in young blood.
Yeah, big time.
Because while Prometheus and Covenant are very interesting.
Yeah. It suffers from
old white man Hollywood syndrome. You know,
yeah.
like there's a new audience and there's a new way to do these things. But I think that those guys have to be involved too, though. I think that they've got to be EPs and they've got to say.
A lot of people won't go see these movies unless it has the consent of the creator.
Yeah.
Like they give their blessing. Like, please, it's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take this, do what you want. You have my blessing, and I'd love to like read the script or watch the movie.
Yeah, give it to a Rodriguez is fine. Give it to an Abrams.
Sure. I would even say go younger, man. Give it to a Watts.
Yeah. Watts would be interesting.
I could see
but it might be too angsty. I think he's doing angsty, like,
maybe he needs to do an angsty movie.
Interesting.
Everyone's got a couple in them.
Yeah, that's true. You
know? I think what would be cool for Terminator is, like, we get a young, hotshot indie director in 10 years, and then we get the new Arnold.
Yeah.
You know, we get that kid that he had the affair with the maid.
Well, that's why
Arnold. The Terminator character.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about something off screen, off show about that, but that wouldn't. Yeah, because his son, his now legitimate son. I mean, he's trying to follow in his dad's footsteps. He's getting
he's getting jacked, getting yoked.
Dude, he's huge. He's huge. He's got he looks like Mexican Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like he's getting huge, man. I'll show you some pictures later.
You tell me like. One time, Tom Arnold and Arnold were hanging out, and then like they saw that kid, and then Tom Arnold was like, "Hey man, he looks like you," and I was like, "Shut up."
Yeah, I heard that someplace, and I mean that's just hilarious. And we digress, kids. That has been our show. If you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. Let us know what you think about the franchises, or is it a vocal minority, the ones complaining about it? Or is it just like, hey guys, I still wicked love Terminator, but I'm not going to the theater because it's too expensive. Sure. You know, I'm curious if that has something to do with it. But yeah, leave us your comment below. Give us a subscribe. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Google. All those things really helps us get listeners and helps us, make more shows.
Yeah.
Eric, what did you learn today?
Man, I think I'm done with all these franchises for the foreseeable future.
Really?
I mean, I'm sure this one's going to be great, but
yeah, you got to watch.
I can't see anything else happening after.
Your dad's going to buy it. You can wait to watch until then.
There we go.
Yeah, your dad will buy it, but I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. I think we need new blood.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's what I learned. We need new blood on these franchises, but god dang, if I still don't want to watch, Arnold on screen as a Terminator, like it's like it does it. Smiling ear to ear when he shows up. When he showed up in the trailer. Right. When Linda Hamilton showed up in the trailer, I was like, sweet. Like, I need this. And I think you guys should definitely go out and watch it and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I have been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Erik Icarus.
And we will catch you next time.